Three Demons, Book 2, Chapter 37, A Place to Stay. Randy, Oscar, and Ria returned home, weary from the day's events. When they opened the door, they were greeted by Benji. "Mama! Papa! Big Sis Oscar!" Benji ran up to Randy, who in turn picked him up and settled down on the couch. However, Ria was seething in frustration. "Can you believe my father? What has gotten into him to think putting a fallen angel in charge of a demon was a good idea, especially Azul of all people?" As she raged on, Oscar attempted to calm her down. "I'm sure he had a good reason." Ria. "Why is Mama so sad?" Benji asked, looking up at Randy. "Your grandfather made a decision she didn't like," Randy answered with a blank expression on his face. Ria's voice grew louder as she continued her tirade, but Randy interrupted. "There's no point in complaining about it, Ria. We've got more important things to worry about." Ria paused before calming herself down. She then held her chin. "You're right. But there is something on my mind. Why did Dracula appear now of all times?" Oscar then chimed in. "Maybe it's because he's getting ready to attack." While they discussed, a knock at the door interrupted them. Randy got up to answer it and found Yanel and Valak standing outside. Yanel asked, "Can we stay at your place?" Randy, with a blunt response and blank expression, told her, "No." Yanel complained, "But we have nowhere else to go." Randy then turned his back to them as Valak sneakily crawled into his home. "Hey, I didn't say to come in." Yanel then took her bird form and flew inside, making Randy even more distraught. Ria, Oscar, and Benji all began to giggle as Randy tried to catch Yanel and Valak. Randy then muttered, "It's hard enough with Ria and Oscar here. I don't have room for the two of you." Yanel suggested, "I can sleep in my bird form and Valak can sleep in his box. You still have that, right?" Randy grumbled, "Yeah, I do," as he found Valak already inside his box, making rattling noises. "Say, isn't he fucking adorable?" Joseph screamed out in the subconscious. "You're not helping," Randy replied, clearly irritated. Oscar then walked up and grabbed his hand, interlocking her fingers with his, her body close to his as well. Alter switched to Jake. Jake started blushing and becoming flustered immediately. "It's okay, Jake. We've got the room. You know that." Oscar poked his cheek as she assured him. Jake reluctantly agreed as Yanel jumped in joy. Later that night, Jake lay down on his bed, his mind wandering from the events that had happened recently involving Excalibur. The room was dimly lit, with only a faint glow coming through the window as the moonlight shined through, the noise from the rest of the apartment muffled, leaving Jake in a cocoon of tranquility. As he stared at the ceiling, he contemplated the complexities of the battles they had faced. His mind raced with strategies and plans, each moment replaying in his mind as if he was dissecting a puzzle. Just when Jake had settled into contemplation, he heard a knock at his door. Startled, he glanced in that direction, wondering why anyone would try to bother him at this time. The doorknob turned, and Ria entered, her presence immediately drawing his attention. She wore an outfit that was far too revealing than her usual attire, and the sight caught Jake off guard. His gaze was captivated by the skimpy outfit, which accentuated her features in a way that made it hard to look away. His nose began to bleed as a perverted expression tore into his face. "Ria, how's it going?" "Damn, so prideful. Yeah, when a beautiful half-naked woman walks in, you lose all composure," Joseph quipped in the subconscious. Ria sauntered into the room, her movements fluid and deliberate. There was a teasing glint in her eyes as she approached Jake. Her lips curled into a playful smile, and she began to toy him with a strand of his hair, her intentions becoming clear. "Jake, dear, it's been so stressful lately. Why don't we try to wind down a bit?" Jake's heart raced as he tried to keep his composure, his face turning a beet red. He knew he should maintain his focus, especially after the day's events, but Ria's presence and her attire made it a difficult task. Ria closed the distance between them, and her voice dropped to a sultrier tone. "Jake, you know there are other ways to unwind after a day like today." In that moment, the room seemed to shrink, and the tension between them crackled with a different kind of energy. But suddenly a voice interrupted, saying, "Well, seems like you two know how to keep things lively." Startled, the two turned to see Hades sitting at a nearby desk that was across the bed. Ria and Jake's faces began to turn redder and redder. "Father, why the hell are you in here?" "Don't worry, I'll explain everything to you lot tomorrow. But I just need a place to stay," Hades began to explain. "What, did Mom kick you out finally?" Ria insulted her father, just added the fact that she was flustered, but Hades knew that. "No! What would make you think of something like that?" Hades defended himself quickly before continuing. No. The leaders of the five great races have decided to meet at the school's student council building. It was your idea, wasn't it? Rhea looked at her father with a blank expression as she put her glasses back on. Yep, just like your mother. Always knew how to read the room. Speaking of reading the room, Joseph mocked Hades from the subconscious. But I am going to be staying here as Randy's roommate, Hades said with glee. Alter switched to Randy. No. Randy bluntly shot Hades down. Hades responded, chuckling. I wasn't asking. Asuka then opened the door, wearing her nightgown, and was taken aback by the sight of Rhea in her Skippy outfit and Hades in the room. Hades casually waved at her as she asked, Randy, what's going on here? What's Lord Hades doing here? She was terrified at his presence. Randy sighed, looking at Hades. I've got a roommate that's actually taking up room. Rhea chimed in. Wait, where am I supposed to sleep? Asuka also then chimed in, whining. Yeah, same here. It's comfortable to sleep with Randy. Randy looked frozen, both dejected and annoyed. Hades then turned to Randy. Randy, son, you've got 2 spare rooms, don't you? Randy looked at Hades and quietly before saying, I do, but Benji is using one of them. Ah, my grandson. I'm very grateful to you. But you heard him, girls. One of the rooms are free, Hades said cheerfully as Rhea and Asuka looked betrayed. Randy, my beloved, I promised to dream of you tonight, Randy said, looking at Randy, reaching her hand out as she had a sad expression on her face before leaving. Asuka then walked over to Randy. Sleep well. Asuka couldn't get the words out as Randy placed his hand on her head. It's okay, Asuka. Just go get some rest. Asuka blushed as she walked out of his room, closing the door behind her. Randy finished laying down a mat for Hades as he asked him, So, Randy, how do you feel about my daughter? Randy blushed and looked away, clicking his tongue. She's annoying. Joseph panicked in the subconscious. That is not what you say to a girl's father. However, Hades began laughing. Yeah, I get that. But I can tell you care about her a lot. Your bullshit facade don't faze me. Hades then continued, but there is one matter we do need to discuss now. Those personalities in your head. End of chapter 37.